Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. We are here to resume our journey for our dearest book, Autobiography for Yogi. In this book, we are going to, we have already revealed and learned a lot of things in the first 15 chapters, that life isn't that complicated and life isn't that we shouldn't be that serious to live life and think so many things into perspectives and getting all the logic into our mind and then overthinking and all these things. So as Guruji always said, that divorce, depression and cancer, these are the things that we should be careful about. And in this context, he also said that it is important that we come out of vehem, we come out of superstitions. His sole objective of inviting you into Sangat, one of the objectives actually, is that you should come out of your religious rituals, or you should come out of a mentality that that God isn't made happy through rituals. God is made happy through love, divine love to be specific. Having said that, I'd like to resume my journey with you, which is Autobiography for Yogi. Paramahansa Yogananda ji has very dearly, made sure that the language used in this book is extremely simple and easy to understand. And these are some of the things that you would be personally be able to correlate with your own journey as a Sangat. So as we resume this journey, so I'd like to mention the name of the chapter, which is chapter number 16, Outwitting the Stars. Okay. So before I begin, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai, Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. You can see how blessed we are to be in Guruji's Sangat. He is immensely blessing us with these two smiling Swarups. I recently got them through one of the Sangats here, and I think he is trying to say that there's no reason to be to be sad at all. There's no reason to fight your internal struggles. Give everything to me, and I am here. I am smiling at you, and you should smile at the world. So having said that, let's begin. Mukunda, why don't you get an astrological armlet? Should I, master? I don't believe in astrology. It is never a question of belief. The only scientific attitude one can take on any subject is whether it is true. The law of gravitation worked as efficiently before Newton as after him. The cosmos would be fairly chaotic if its laws could not operate without the sanction of human belief. So this is a discussion between Yogananda ji and his guru Shri Yukteshwar. Charlatans have brought the stellar science to its present state of disrepute. Astrology is too vast, both mathematically and philosophically, to be rightly grasped except by men of profound understanding. If ignoramuses misread the heavens and see there a scroll instead of a script, that is to be expected in this imperfect world. One should not dismiss the wisdom with the wise. All parts of creation are linked together and interchange their influences. The balanced rhythm of the universe is rooted in reciprocity. My guru continued. Then he's saying, man in his human aspect, okay, has to combat two sets of forces. First, the tumults within his being caused by the admixture of earth, water, fire, air, and ethereal elements. Second, the outer disintegrating powers of nature. So long as man struggles with his mortality, he is affected by the myriad mutations of heaven and earth. Then he continues, astrology is a study of man's response to planetary stimuli. The stars have no conscious benevolence or animosity. They merely send forth positive and negative radiations of themselves. These do not help or harm humanity, but offer a lawful channel for the outward operation of cause-effect equilibriums, which each man has set into motion in the past. A child is born on that day and at that hour when the celestial rays are at that mathematical harmony with his individual karma. His horoscope is a challenging portrait, revealing his unalterable past and its probable future results. But the natal chart can be rightly interpreted only by men of intuitive wisdom, these are few. So then we continue. The message boldly blazoned across the heavens at the moment of our birth is not meant to emphasize fate, the result of past good and evil, but to arouse man's will to escape from his then himself was the instigator of the causes of whatever effects are now prevalent in his life. He can overcome any limitation because he created it by his own actions in the first place, and because he has spiritual resources which are not subject to planetary pressure. Superstitions. Awe of astrology makes one an automation slavishly dependent on mechanical guidance. The wise man defeats his planets, which is to say his past, by transferring his allegiance from the creation to the creator. The more he realizes his unity with spirit, the less he can be dominated by matter. The soul is ever free, it is deathless because birthless. It cannot be regimented by stars. Exactly what Guruji has told us in a loving and gentle way. There's no need to believe in all these things. Your karmas, past, present, or future, everything is through me. Once I have selected you in my Sangat, you just need to follow my path, follow the hukum, and that's it. Man is a soul and has a body. When he properly places his some sense of identity, he leaves behind all compulsive patterns. So long as he remains confused in his ordinary state of spiritual amnesia, he will know the subtle fetters of environmental law. God is harmony. The devotee who attunes himself will never perform any action amiss. His activities will be correctly and naturally timed to accord with astrological law. After deep prayer and meditation, he is in touch with his divine consciousness. There is no greater power than that inward protection. You can correlate this. Then, dear master, why do you want me to wear an astrological bangle? I ventured this question after a long silence, during which I had tried to assimilate Shri Yukteshwar's noble exposition. It is only when a traveler has reached his goal that he is justified in discarding his maps. During the journey, he takes the advantage of any convenient shortcut. The ancient rishis discovered many ways to curtail the period of man's exile in delusion. There are certain mechanical features in the law of karma which can be skillfully adjusted by the fingers of wisdom. All human ills arise from some transgression of universal law. The scriptures point out that man must satisfy the laws of nature while not discrediting the divine omnipotence. He should say, Lord, I trust in thee and know thou can't help me, but I too will do my best to undo my wrong I have done. By a number of means, by prayer, by willpower, by yoga meditation, by consultation with saints, by use of astrological bangles, the adverse effects of past wrongs can be minimized or nullified. Just as a house can be fitted with a copper rod to absorb the shock of lightning, so the bodily temple can be benefited by various protective measures. Ages ago, our yogis discovered that pure metals emit an astral light which is powerfully counteractive to negative pulls of the planets. Subtle electrical and magnetic radiations are constantly circulating in the universe when a man's body is being aided. He does not know it when it is being disintegrated. He is still in ignorance. Can he do anything about it? This problem received attention from our rishis. They found helpful not only a combination of metals but also of plants, and most effective of all, faultless jewels of not less than 2 carats. The preventive uses of astrology have seldom been seriously studied outside of India. Our little known fact is that the proper jewels, metals, or plant preparations are valueless unless the required weight is secured, and unless these remedial agents are worn next to the skin. Sir, of course, I shall take your advice and get a bangle. I am intrigued at the thought of outwitting a planet. So throughout this book, we will come through all these sort of funny, statements. For general purposes, I counsel the use of an armlet made of gold, silver, and copper. But for this specific purpose, I want you to get one of silver and lead. Shri Yukteshwar added careful directions. Guruji, what specific purpose do you mean? The stars are about to take an unfriendly interest in you, Mukunda. Fear not, you shall be protected. In about a month, your liver will cause you much trouble. The illness is scheduled to last for 6 months. But your use of an astrological amulet will shorten the period to 24 days. I sought out a jeweler the next day and was soon wearing the bangle. My health was excellent. Master's predictions slipped from my mind. He left Srirampur and to visit Banaras. 30 days after our conversation, I felt a sudden pain in the region of my liver. The following weeks were a nightmare of excruciating pain. Reluctant to disturb my guru, I thought I would bravely endure my trial alone. You can correlate this that when we get blessings from Guruji, we should accept it with all the love that we can ever muster, because it is Guruji himself who is trying to save you from something. He's trying to uplift you into another level that you wouldn't have imagined yourself. So I think Guruji ka blessing milna is feeling that you are already part of the divine. So, like in this particular example, he was actually scheduled for a bigger problem with his liver, but because of the blessing that he got from his guru, that got reduced to only 24 days. But 23 days of torture weakened my resolution. I entrained for Banaras. There, Shri Yukteshwar greeted me with unusual warmth, but gave me no opportunity to tell him my woes in private. Many devotees visited Master that day just for a darshan. Ill and neglected, I sat in a corner. It was not until after the evening meal that all guests departed. My guru summoned me into the octagonal balcony of the house. You must have come about your liver disorder. Shri Yukteshwar's gaze was averted. He walked to and fro, occasionally intercepting the moonlight. Let me see. You have been ailing for 24 days, haven't you? Yes, sir. Please do the stomach exercise I have taught you. If you knew the extent of my suffering, Master, you would not ask me to exercise. Nevertheless, I made a feeble attempt to obey him. You say you have pain. I say you have none. How can such contradictions exist? My guru looked at me inquiringly. I was dazed and then overcome with joyful relief. No longer could I feel the continuous torment that had kept me nearly sleepless for weeks. At Shri Yukteswar's words, the agony vanished as though it had never been. You would have realized number of these satsangs while attending satsangs, when Sangat share a lot of things, like for example, frozen shoulder got healed while doing aarti. There are many satsangs which are by Guruji's old Sangat, where Guruji कल्याण एक्चुअली कर देते हैं एंड हमें पता भी नहीं चलता है कि हमारा ये पेन था. So I think we should just swim in the ocean of divinity the way that Guruji wants us to. I started to kneel at his feet in gratitude, but he quickly prevented me. Don't be childish. Get up and enjoy the beauty of the moon over the Ganges. But Master's eyes were twinkling happily as I stood in silence beside him. I understood by his attitude that he wanted me to feel that not he but God had been the healer. I wear even now the heavy silver and lead bangle, a memento of that day long past ever cherished, when I found anew that I was living with a personage indeed superhuman. On later occasions, when I brought my friends to Shri Yukteshwar for healing, he invariably recommended jewels or the bangle, extolling their use as an act of astrological wisdom. I had been prejudiced against astrology from my childhood, partly because I observed that many people are securely attached to it, and partly because of the prediction made by our family astrologer. You will marry 3 times, being twice a widower. I brooded over the matter, feeling like a goat waiting sacrifice before the temple of triple matrimony. You may as well be resigned to your fate. My brother Ananta had remarked, your written horoscope has correctly stated that you would fly from home towards the Himalayas during your early years, but would be forcibly returned. The forecast of your marriages is also bound to be true. A clear intuition came to me one night that the prophecy was wholly false. I set fire to the horoscope to scroll, placing the ashes in a paper bag on which I wrote, seeds of past karma cannot germinate if they are roasted in the divine fires of wisdom. Let's read it again. Seeds of past karma cannot germinate if they are roasted in the divine fires of wisdom. Such a strong and powerful statement. I put the bag in a conspicuous spot. Ananta immediately read my defiant comment. You cannot destroy truth as easily as you have burned this paper scroll. My brother laughed scornfully. It is a fact that on 3 occasions before I reached manhood, my family tried to arrange my betrothal. Each time I refused to fall in with the plans, knowing that my love for God was more overwhelming than my astrological persuasion from the past. The deeper the self realization of a man, the more he influences the whole universe by his subtle spiritual vibrations, and the less he himself is affected by the phenomenal flux. These words of Masters often returns inspiringly to my mind. Occasionally, I told astrologers to select my worst periods according to planetary indications, and I would still accomplish whatever task I set myself. It is true that my success at such times has been accompanied by extraordinary difficulties, but my conviction has always been justified. Faith in the divine protection and the use of man's God given will are forces formidable beyond any of the inverted ball can muster. The starry inscription at one's birth, I came to understand, it's not that man is a puppet of his past. Its message is rather a prod to pride. The very heavens seek to arouse man's determination to be free from every limitation. God created each man as a soul dowered with individuality, hence essential to the universal structure, whether in the temporary role of pillar or parasite. His freedom is final and immediate. If he so wills, it depends not on outer but inner victories. Very powerful statements. Shri Yukteshwar, okay, this is a very interesting part of the chapter. Shri Yukteshwar discovered the mathematical application of a 24,000 year equinoctial cycle to our present age. Okay, the cycle is divided into an ascending arc and a descending arc. Ascending arc and a descending arc. Okay, each of 12,000 years. Within each arc fall 4 yugas or ages. Okay, called Kali, Dwapara, Treta, and Satya, corresponding to the Greek ideas of iron, bronze, silver, and golden ages. Okay, my guru determined by various calculations that the last Kali Yuga or Iron Age of the ascending arc started about AD 500. The Iron Age, 1200 years in duration, is a span of materialism. It ended about AD 1700. That year ushered in Dwapara Yoga and a 2400 year period of electrical and atomic energy developments, the age of telegraph, radio, airplanes, and other space annihilators. The 3600 period of Treta Yuga will start in AD 4100. Its age will be marked by common knowledge of telepathic communications and other time annihilators. During the 4800 years of Satya Yuga, final age in an ascending arc, the intelligence of a man will be completely developed. He will work in harmony with the divine plan. Okay, a descending arc of 12,000 years, starting with a descending golden age of 4800 years, then begins for the world. Man gradually sinks into ignorance. These cycles are the eternal rounds of Maya, the contrast and relativities of the phenomenal universe. Man, one by one, escapes from creation's prison of duality as he awakens to consciousness of his inseverable divine unity with the Creator. Master enlarged my understanding not only of astrology but of the world scriptures. Placing the holy text on the spotless table of his mind, he was able to dissect them with the scalpel of intuitive reasoning and to separate errors and interpolations of scholars from the truths as originally expressed by the prophets. Fix one's vision on the end of the nose. अगर आपने भगवद गीता पढ़ा है तो this might sound familiar to you. Fix one's vision on the end of the nose. This inaccurate interpretation of a Bhagavad Gita stanza, widely accepted by the Eastern Pandits and Western translators, used to arouse Master's droll criticism. The path of a yogi is singular enough as it is, he remarked. Why counsel him that he must also make himself cross-eyed? The true meaning of Nasi Kakram is origin of the nose, not end of the nose. The nose begins at the point between the two eyebrows, the seat of spiritual vision. Okay, exactly here. Okay, because of one Sankhya aphorism, Ishwar Asiddha, a lord of creation cannot be deduced, or God is not proven. God is not proved, sorry. Many scholars call the whole philosophy aesthetical. The verse is not nihilistic. Shri Yukteshwar explained, it merely signifies that to the unenlightened man, dependent on his senses for all final judgments, proof of God must remain unknown and therefore non-existent. True Sankhya followers with unshakable insight born of meditation understand that the Lord is both existent and knowable. Master expounded the Bible with a beautiful clarity. It was from my Hindu guru, unknown to the roll call of Christian membership, that I learned to perceive the deathless essence of the Bible and to understand the truth in Christ's assertion. Surely, the most thrillingly intransient ever uttered, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. True. The great masters of India mold their lives by the same godly ideals which animated Jesus. These men are his proclaimed kin. Whomsoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven is the same is my brother and sister and mother. If they continue in my word, Christ pointed out, they are then they are my disciples indeed, and they shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Free men, all lords of themselves, the Yogi Christ of India are part of the immortal fraternity, those who have attained a liberating knowledge of the One Father. The Adam and Eve story is incomprehensible to me. I observed with considerable heat one day in my early struggles with the allegory. Why did God punish not only the guilty pair but also the innocent unborn generations? Master was more amused by my vehemence than my ignorance. Genesis is deeply symbolic and cannot be grasped by a literal interpretation, he explained. Its tree of life is the human body. The spinal cord is like a upturned tree with man's hair as its roots and efferent nerves as branches. Okay, the tree of the nervous system bears many enjoyable fruits or sensations of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. In these, man may rightfully indulge, but he was forbidden the experience of sex, the apple at the center of the bodily garden. Okay, the serpent represent the coiled up spinal energy which stimulates the sex drive nerves. Adam is reason and Eve is feeling. When the emotion or Eve consciousness is in any human being is overpowered by the sex impulse, his reason or Adam also succumbs. God created the human species by materializing the bodies of man and woman through the force of his will. He endowed the new species with the power to create children in a similar immaculate or divine manner. Because his manifestation in the individualized soul had hitherto been limited to animals, instinct bound, and lacking the potentialities of full reason, God made the first human bodies symbolically called Adam and Eve. To these, for advantageous upward evolution, he transferred the souls or divine essence of two animals. In Adam or man, reason predominated. In Eve or woman, feeling was ascendant. Thus was expressed the duality or polarity which underlies the phenomenal worlds. Reason and feeling remain in a heaven of cooperative joy so long as the human mind is not tricked by the serpentine energy or animal propensities. The human body was therefore not solely a result of evolution from beasts, but was produced by an act of special creation by God. The animal forms were too crude to express full divinity. The human being was uniquely given a tremendous mental capacity. The thousand-petaled lotus of the brain, as well as acutely awakened occult centers in the spine. God, or the divine consciousness present within the first created pair, counseled them to enjoy all human sensibilities, but not to put their concentration on touch sensations. These were banned in order to avoid the development of the sex organs, which would enmesh humanity in the inferior animal method of propagation. The warning not to revive subconsciously present bestial memories was not heeded. Resuming the way of brute procreation, Adam and Eve fell from the state of heavenly joy natural to the original perfect man. Knowledge of good and evil refers to the cosmic dualistic compulsion, falling under the sway of Maya through misuse of his feeling and reason, or Eve and Adam consciousness, man relinquishes his right to enter the heavenly garden of divine self sufficiency. The personal responsibility of every human being is to restore his parents or dual nature to a unified harmony or Eden. As Shri Yukteshwar ended his discourse, I glanced with new respect at the pages of Genesis. Dear Master, I said, for the first time I feel a proper filial obligation towards Adam and Eve. This ends chapter number 16, which is Outwitting the Stars. In this particular chapter, we learnt that it is indeed, there are many things in this book that you would personally enjoy and relate your life as a संगत. मैं आपको strongly recommend करूँगा with all my with my humbleness that आपको जो भी version book का अच्छा लगता है हिंदी और English, do go ahead. And if Guruji has directed you to see this video, if Guruji has directed you to read this book, if Guruji has already invited you to be part of his संगत, आपको सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये divine journey से continuation ही करना है. You don't have to do anything great to be with Guruji. Just follow his path. No abuse, no blame, no criticize. I mean, no निंदा चुगली. And just आप गुरुजी से दिन में अगर 10 मिनट भी बात करेंगे, 10 मिनट भी अगर आप शब्द भी सुनते हैं in true silence, without your phones, without laptops or without iPads, I think that itself is taking you one step closer to Guruji. मेरे थ्रू जो मैसेजेस कम्युनिकेट हो रहे हैं, these are all, I feel that Guruji is making me say all these things because my own personal journey is nothing but bliss. So I would only say that जैसे Guruji हम is smiling at us right now. Keep smiling and keep spreading the word of love. Keep spreading गुरुजी की वडियाई करना, गुरुजी के बारे में बात करना, गुरुजी के गुणगान करना, ये सबसे बड़ी सेवा है. This is the biggest gift you can give to your guru by talking about Guruji. तो यही बोल के I would like to end today's discourse, which is basically this really good book, Autobiography for Yogi. And in the next chapter we are going to go through one more interesting topic, which is basically Shashi and the 3 sapphires. So with this I'd like to end today's conversation. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji.